everyone, Jamie Trull here, your favorite CPA and financial literacy coach. And today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different than usual. So usually on this channel, we're talking about financial advice for small business owners, helping you maximize profit, helping you understand your finances more. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit more of my story, and specifically my story of owning a business and how it has evolved over time, and how I was able to grow and scale a business that I love, that gives me freedom and flexibility, and that pays me an income more than I expected by a long shot when I first started this business. And so this is a question I get a lot about how exactly my business works, because it's a little bit different than most CPAs run their business, right? I am not a service-based business anymore. I started my business that way. However, that's not what I do from the standpoint of offering one-to-one services anymore. I have a fully online business, and it's an education-based business. And so whether you are a service business, maybe you're even a service business that is within this kind of financial services realm like I am, maybe you watch this channel as another CPA or accountant, or maybe you have a completely different type of service-based business. If that's you, and you feel like you've kind of run into that place where you're trying to figure out how the heck to grow and scale your business without burning yourself out, I'm just going to tell you I've been there, and I'm going to give you a couple of my secrets to success and how I've made this business work for me, and how I've been able to not just increase my income through scaling my business in the way that I have, but also increase my freedom and the impact that I'm able to have. So that's really the trifecta for me. You can get all three of those things: financial freedom, time freedom, and the ability to impact more and more people and make a greater contribution to both my local community, but also to, the United States and beyond as a whole. That's the goal, right? So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about how I got here. So real quick, we're gonna do a flashback. So we're gonna do a little bit of a flashback back to 2017, which is where this story, my entrepreneurial story, really starts. And I would love to say I had some grand plan for this business. I would love to say that I had this all planned out to the T and I knew where I was going, but I'm gonna tell you I had absolutely no idea. And if you had told me then that today, 5+ years later, that I would have the business that I do today, I would not have believed you. I would not have believed you. And so for me, going back in time to 2017, which was when I left my corporate job, it was actually going away because the headquarters was moving to London. And so rather than move my family to London, I was actually pregnant with my second child at the time. We decided not to do that. And so both my husband and I left our jobs in Atlanta. I had been in finance leadership for 10 years in the Coca-Cola system. So working with the Coca-Cola bottlers, and I really enjoyed that job. I really enjoyed working my way up within the company, and I worked through 2 multi-billion-dollar mergers. And I really didn't despise the work at all. I actually really, really liked what I did. But I knew that with my second child on the way, that wasn't the life that I wanted anymore. That, office lifestyle wasn't what I was looking for. So some of you may have started your own business for the exact same reasons. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to call the shots. I wanted to be able to get my kids off the bus at the end of the day. I wanted to have the flexibility that I so desired, and I think so many of us really desire. And I didn't want a 9-to-5 or an 8-to-6 or whatever it was, right? Sometimes even more than that. I didn't want to have these crazy busy seasons like I had. And so I left that job. We moved back home. This is essentially where I was raised. It's right around Nashville, Tennessee. And we built a house here and we put down roots. And so I didn't really know what I was going to do at the time. And that was probably the first risky thing that I ever did in my life was to just step away. And I decided to take a longer maternity leave with my daughter. And I had her right as I was leaving my old job. And so I was able to take a longer maternity leave with her and stay home with her, which was amazing. But then I knew that I wanted to go back and do something. I knew that I wanted to be able to provide for my family and help to bring in an income. And so originally what I started to do was to look for jobs, right? I started to go out there and try to look for a job that I was going to get and go probably back into an office. And I remember being extremely picky. I talked to recruiters and I would give them this crazy long laundry list of here's how much money I would have to make and here's what the specifics of the company would have to be like. And I gave them all this information. And at the end of the day, I remember a recruiter finally called me and said, hey, we have a job for you and it matches all of your specifics. Please send over your updated resume and we'll submit you for it. And I got off the phone and I cried. And so for me, that was kind of my moment of, I even though it was the perfect job, it wasn't about that anymore. It was about that freedom. I really wanted to do something on my own and I felt like it was time. And so that's what I did. So I started to look around. I looked at all different types of businesses and then decided I needed to really start with what I knew, which was finances and accounting. Now, I worked in finance for a large corporation, but I figured, hey, I could probably do this for a small corporation. I understand the basics of this. I understand how to read financial statements. I understand the strategy behind finances. So how different can it be? Famous last words, right? And so I started by helping small business owners, first with a lot of different things, bookkeeping, taxes, and also doing their CFO level work. And then finally decided that really where my sweet spot was in the CFO, i.e. the strategic side, helping them understand profit margins, pricing, right? Cost control, all the things, all those decisions that you have to make as a business owner that fall on you. I wanted to be able to help those business owners by using my financial knowledge. So I was super excited about this business. I started to bring on clients. And in order to bring on clients in my service-based business, I also opened a Facebook group and I started getting more active on social media. And what happened kind of by accident, I sort of stumbled into enjoying teaching. So I was teaching just to bring in kind of new prospects, but then I ended up taking my capacity of clients and I did not have any more capacity for additional clients. I had a waiting list a mile long and I could only work with so many people one-to-one. So I kind of hit this place of, okay, what do I do now? Because I'm not making the income that I want to make. I'm working round the clock again, even though the goal of having my own business was to have freedom and flexibility. I didn't feel that at all, because the one thing that I didn't factor in is I know how much time it takes me to do the work for clients, but all the extra time that I was spending on being my own admin assistant, on being my own sales and marketing team, right? On being my own back office and accounting team, all of that time that you spend, right, doing all the different, wearing all the hats, I didn't really account for that. And so I thought that I was going to be able to take on a certain number of clients as a max, and really it was about half that. And that was not going to get me where I wanted to be income-wise. It got me absolutely nowhere near where I was in the corporate job that I left, but I was working almost the same amount of time. So that was when, in 2019, I kind of hit this wall of what do I do now? What do I do? How am I going to handle this? What can I do? And so that is when I started to think about, how do I scale this, right? There's a couple different ways that I could scale it. The first was to greatly increase my prices so as to increase my profit margins. And that's the way a lot of accountants go. And I actually don't blame them for that. I mean, I think that is, knowing your niche, knowing who you serve, and then being able to charge for that value. I totally agree with that. But the problem that I had is that the size business that I wanted to serve, it didn't make sense for them to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a CFO every single month. They just didn't have it, right? And so that was where I struggled, is that the people that I was most passionate about serving, that was not the price point they could afford. And I didn't want to start going after multi-million-dollar companies, because for me, I wanted to help people succeed and grow and get past that phase, right? Get past that kind of first phase of just trying to scale and trying to get to the next level where you can hire employees and you can grow your company and you can expand. I didn't want to serve these already multi-million-dollar companies, right? So that's where I said, you know what? Pricing is not how I'm going to fix this, because that's not the market that I want to serve. So the second thing I could have done that, again, a lot of other kind of accounting and finance professionals do, is to hire a team and kind of clone myself, right? Hire people. Maybe I would still continue to be the face, but hire people to do most of the work, right? So that at the end of the day, I could, outsource a lot of the work that I was doing to other people. However, that also didn't really appeal to me, because I like doing the work. Honestly, the work wasn't the problem. I don't mind doing the work. And I didn't really want to manage a team. It's not my favorite thing to do. Now I love my team now. It's kind of funny when I look at it is that the reason I went this way was because I didn't want to have a whole team to manage. And now I have the best team ever. But they do different things in my business. They aren't serving clients. So it's a little bit of a different story when you're hiring people to serve clients on your behalf. There's a lot that goes into that. You have to be really good at putting in processes and systems that are going to work and be repeatable and have really good, quality controls around that. And you can have a lot of frustrations with the staff that you hire if they don't work out. And it cuts into your margins a lot, of course, right? So you still probably need to increase your prices if you're going to hire people if you want to have margin at the end of the day, which again, like I said, I didn't want to increase prices. So what else could I do? Well, that is when I had no idea. Honestly, I thought for a long time those were the only two options. And then I started getting more involved. And as I started teaching more and being more involved in this kind of online business world, I started to see what other people were doing, not necessarily within my industry, because there wasn't a lot of this in my industry at the time, but in other industries where they were scaling through things like online courses or coaching programs, and they were able to kind of teach one to many, right? And so that really appealed to me, number one, because I had realized I love teaching. I love to explain things in ways that make sense, right? I love to kind of remove the veil that's between the business owner oftentimes and the accountant and remove kind of that terminology block where it sometimes feels like we're speaking different languages. It's one of my favorite things to do is to just break it down into terms that make sense for everybody, because I have both been on the side of the accountant. I can speak CPA, but I'm also a business owner. So I understand how business owners look at things and they aren't always the same thing. So I can kind of bridge that gap. So I found I love teaching. So that was my first clue. I also found that I had this deep desire to help more people. And I am only one person, and I can only help so many people when I'm working with them one-to-one. However, creating something that I could then use to teach lots of people, in fact, an endless number of people, there's no cap anymore on the number of people that I can teach and help, was exceedingly appealing to me. So having an online business where I could create digital products. So for me, those digital products take a lot of forms. They started with just digital courses, which is still the bread and butter of our business is digital courses. I have two of them. One that's more of a basics course for people who are brand new in business, want to understand what a P&L is, what a balance sheet is, how to track their finances appropriately and why, right? That's kind of the intro level product that I have. I also have Financial Fitness Formula, which only opens once a year. And that one is my signature program, which I'm part of as well, and I help walk through. There's a group coaching element in that as well, but it's largely an online course that they go through on their own, and then I assist them and answer questions throughout the way in order to get them to really becoming their own CFO, stepping into those strategic decisions about their business, managing cash flow, figuring out pricing, all of those things that I did when I worked one-to-one with clients, I teach these business owners how to do themselves. So if you're wondering how in the world, all of a sudden one day I realized I needed to have online courses as part of my business and switch my business model, again, that was not a grand plan, but it was a chance encounter with a woman who I can now call a friend. She was a mentor at the time. Now she's a friend of mine, Amy Porterfield, who teaches how to create online courses. And so I stumbled upon that. And I felt like it was almost this serendipitous situation that occurred. Some of you have heard the story. I'm not going to go into details, but basically it fell into my lap and said, this is what you're supposed to do, right? I knew there were so many signs pointing to this is exactly what I need to do. This can help me solve all the problems, right? This can help me solve the ceiling that I have on my finances right now, working one-to-one without having to just jack up my prices a ton. So if you don't know Amy yet, why not? You need to know Amy. She really was instrumental in her program in helping me to build this business that I love, that has helped me to 10x my profit, not just my income, not just my revenue, my profit from where it was when I was a maxed out service-based business, okay? 10x. So don't ignore that. It's very possible to create a business that feels good, a business that you can impact so many people, that you can have flexibility. I took a lot of this summer off and still continue to generate income because of the systems that we have in place and the team that I have in place. It isn't all up to me anymore, which is an amazing, amazing place to be. And like I said, I wouldn't have believed it if you told me 5 years ago that I would have this business, okay? So if you're ready to take the next steps, if you're ready for what comes next, or maybe you just want to explore a little bit and think about and tinker around with this idea of creating an online business, of having some digital products, right? And what that could look like in your business, whether you want it to fully replace your service-based business or just be supplemental, or maybe just be something that you can offer your clients to help cut down on the amount of time that you spend teaching them things. If you're thinking about this, I want you to go to jamietrull.com/course creation, because I have lots of different resources over there. And I want you to go through the whole page and check out what's there. We're actually changing out based on what is relevant right now. We're changing out what is on that page. So you can visit it this week and then visit it next week, and we will be adding additional resources and things that you will want to know about. So while you're over on that page, make sure that you also sign up for my Digital Course Academy waitlist. That is something that does not obligate you to purchase. It's just going to make sure that you are aware when the doors open to Digital Course Academy, which is the program that I took with Amy Porterfield. And you can sign up for that. You can get the information. It's only opening one time this year, and it's about to open. So you want to make sure you get your name on that list. That will also make sure that you know what all of my bonus offerings are as soon as I put them out into the world. Okay, so anybody who signs up for Digital Course Academy through my partner link is going to get all of my bonuses in addition to Amy's bonuses. So go check out jbtrull.com/course creation, and it will give you all the information, a whole bunch of free resources. You can listen to me over on Amy Porterfield's podcast. I've done 3 podcasts with her, and her podcast is a top 10 business podcast in the US, which is amazing. So make sure to check all of that out. I cannot wait to share more of my journey. This is like the very highly abridged version. It's funny now to think back on, because this was when my daughter was born, and now my daughter is 5.5 and going to kindergarten. Actually, tomorrow is her first day. So it is kind of crazy to look back, but I'm so glad that I was able to have a business like this where I could work from home and really support my family in the way I needed to, from both a monetary and a time perspective. I could provide both of those things, which is just, it's the dream. And I want that for more of you. So if you're interested in this content, make sure that you subscribe, because I'm going to be doing more of this, especially over the next month to 6 weeks. So you'll be able to hear more about how I grew my business through online courses, and I will be answering more of your questions. So I hope to see you soon.